let's talk about Discipline Priest as a spec. Right now I have UI turned off. Let's turn this on. So let's talk about talents first. Let's do that. Castigation. Penance fires one additional bolt of holy light over its duration. Twist of Fate. After healing a target below 35% health, you deal 20% increased damage and 20% increased healing for 10 seconds. Schism. Attack the enemy's soul with a surge of shadow energy, dealing 22,007 shadow damage and increasing the spell damage to the target by 40% for 9 seconds. So let's talk about the first row here. Castigation is almost never used. From the people I've seen, streamers I've seen, the guides I've read, this is just like the not go-to, the anti-go-to. I've honestly, since BFA started and till right now today, Penance has been buffed actually on friendlies. So I've kind of thought maybe I'll play with Castigation and I'll try Contrition, see if I get more AoE healing out of it. But I was like, I don't really want to do that while I'm doing this series. I don't really want to do it because I keep trying to push my IO and whatever. So I just said forget about it. It might be good for PvP. I still run Schism in PvP, and I mostly do battlegrounds, random battlegrounds, and 2s for get confidence strife. So for this first row, Castigation is pretty much a dead talent. Twist of Fate is pretty good when the higher the keys you get, because the damage is going to hit harder, and it kind of helps prevent that whole oh shit, that's Discipline Priest, so we don't really have that. So this is pretty good to play. So that's an option. Schism's kind of considered more the offensive side. Twist of Fate's a little more defensive because it's passive, and it just procs automatically when someone on your team that you're healing is 35% or lower, and you get this pretty good benefit: 20% increased damage and healing. I mean, the damage kill the mob faster. You do more healing through Atonement. And you get another 20% increase on top of your healing, and for 10 seconds is pretty generous there. 35% though is a little bit sketchy, but I think it's kind of fair. And Schism a good play, and it's 24-second cooldown at 9 seconds. I really like this one. I think I'm just kind of set my ways, but I put Schism and a dot on the highest health target or priority mob. And if I feel like if I need more healing, sometimes I'll do it Schism on this and a dot, and I'll go around spreading the rest of my dots and go back to that Schism target and smite. But if I really need someone to get more healing, I'll Schism and then go through my Penance, Solace, and then spam smite until Penance and Solace come back. It does a lot more healing than I guess people give it credit for. And by people I mean the general public population. It's good. I really enjoy it. 500 mana doesn't cost much to use, and it's if you use it for an emergency heal to help you out emergency heal, it's good. And then also if you don't need that, you're still benefiting from the extra damage it gives. So Schism also got changed from 8.2 to 8.3. Before, Schism plus Cyclotronic Blast, if anyone remembers that from last season, and Crucible Flame Major down here. The damage increase from Schism would be applied to both of those spells, which just made Discipline Priest nuts DPS for that 9-second window. So their burst off in the start. Last season, I think I was bursting up 75 to 95k sometimes, depending on if my Crucible Flame would crit or my Cyclotronic Blast would crit. That was nuts. So obviously that was broken. It did not transfer to Atonement Healing, but still that's a lot of damage, and that's really good. So they obviously fixed that, so now it's priest abilities, which is a lot more fair, and there was a lot of outcry from this community that, we're already broken, we can probably do Pacific Plus, this is our blah blah, we can do this spell, fair is fair, that's obviously broken. So that's fixed now, so Schism only works with priest abilities. So, Schism's more offensive, Twist of Fate's a little more defensive, Play whichever you feel more comfortable with. I would recommend though, Twist of Fate's pretty good for pugs, and if you're learning distance still. It's kind of like you don't have an extra button to worry about to press. And this just happens faster, like I said earlier. But the downside is, when I was learning discipline, like I would run Twist of Fate, and sometimes I'd look at my overall auras on details, and I would have like 20 seconds uptime. 20 seconds, that's 2 applications of Twist of Fate for a whole run. Because like I just anticipated bad players and people getting hurt by bad, but they end up being really well. And I'm like, damn, like if I would have Schism, my overall DPS would have been much higher, which is another thing to point out. Schism is definitely going to increase that DPS output, which, depending on who you talk to, DPS is more important. You know, the more DPS you do, the faster you kill things, the faster you kill things, the faster you get to the end of the dungeon, the faster you get to the end of the dungeon, the more time is left on your Mythic Plus timer. So, just things that I would say Twist of Fate is the safe go-to if you're learning. Schism, if you're feeling a little more adventurous and you're ready to kind of take a step in doing more damage and also doing more healing in 9 seconds. So, okay, the 30 row, level 30 row. Body and Soul, Power Word Shield, and Leap of Faith increase the target's movement speed by 40% for 3 seconds. Masochism, when you cast Shadow Man on yourself, this damage over time effect heals you instead and reduces all damage you take by 10%. Angelic Feather places a feather at the target location, granting the first ally to walk through it, 40% increase movement speed for 5 seconds. Only 3 feathers can be placed at one time. Max 3 charges. So this is kind of your preference. I like body. I used to run Angelic Feather, and I had a macro to where it would just cast right at my feet, and I would just spam my key, and I'd go faster for like 8 seconds. It was, I mean, obviously fun, but it kind of felt selfish. So I switched from it, and also it freed up a keybind for me, which I also like. I went with Body and Soul because Power Shield, like 3 seconds isn't a whole lot. And then with Weakened Soul that they added back into, I think in 8.1 patch. It used to not be a Weakened Soul, you could spam Shield, and now Weakened Soul came back into the game, and not spam Shield. I think it was like 8 seconds you can't spam Shield. But Body and Soul's uptime is pretty good. And it's kind of nice to like give to players, honestly. Like I've seen it help out teammates. Like there might be something bad and they need to get out, like I'll spam Shield them, and they'll be able to run faster and kind of get out and just sneak out of there. So I like this one a lot more than Angelic Feather. Masochism I have not played with, honestly. I thought about it, and actually it's kind of, I've seen higher key pushers use this because it's kind of like a mini defensive here. I mean, 10% damage doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm sure it is. Plus, if you Shadow Man yourself, plus the lenience ability here, it's 13%. I just like, besides this, besides Body and Soul and Angelic Feather, we have no movement abilities. So it's kind of, I don't like that it's in this row. It's like 2 movement abilities and then a small defensive. I don't know. So I don't play with this one. I just go with that. I've been fine not playing Masochism, and I just completed 18 earlier today, my first 18 in time, so I didn't find I needed like that extra damage reduction. Down here, this is kind of like the mana row, the row 45. Shield Discipline, when your Power Word Shield is completely absorbed, you restore 5% of your maximum mana. Mind Bender. It replaces Shadow Fiend, your 3-minute cooldown, for a 1-minute cooldown. It summons a Mind Bender to attack the target for 12 seconds. You regenerate 0.5% of maximum mana each time the Mind Bender attacks. This can also be reduced with, what's it called? Vision of Affection Minor. Another thing about the Mind Bender, it doesn't say it on the tooltip, but I think Mind Bender actually does less damage than Shadow Fiend also. Yeah, you have to like dig into guides for that one. I'm pretty sure that's what I've seen. That's just something to be cognizant of. And then Power Word Solace. Strike an enemy with heavenly power, dealing 14,159 holy damage and restoring 1% of their maximum mana. I mean, this one is. I did play with Mind Bender because going into the season, this Power Word Solace actually got a nerf. The damage got a nerf. I don't know why. Like, I don't think the damage is crazy in 8.2 for them to like to warrant a damage nerf to Solace. Like, it just felt like unneeded. The reduced atonement healing, sure, went from, that was at 60% from the start of the expansion, now it's down at 50. It was at 55 last patch, and now it's at 50. I mean, the more stats we go, the higher our stats go. Like, imagine if we were still at 60% healing, like, the atonement healing, I'm sorry. It just, I think it just kind of got out of control, and then Disc Priest kind of was just seen as, like, they pump damage and do a crazy amount of healing. Like, they're the go-to for Mythic Plus. They were in 8.0, and so were Blood Death Knight, but that's a whole other story. So, out of this row, I've never played a Shield Discipline. I'm losing my DPS rotation would just be my Dot, my Smite, and my Penance, and that's it. I'd be losing out on Atonement. My Atonement throughput. Mind Bender I played with a little bit with Visions of Perfection Minor, and so brought it down to about 45 seconds for a cooldown, which wasn't bad, but it did feel bad when I didn't have the extra button to press on like every other pack. And I think Mindbender's overall DPS actually ended up being maybe a little bit more than Solace when I played with it, but it wasn't like as consistent, so I didn't like it. So I went Powered Solace. Used to play this back 8.2. Playing it again this season. This is a great choice. Even though they get nerfed, I still find it very useful. Okay, so level 60 row. Psychic, this is kind of like the CC-ish row. Psychic Voice reduces the cooldown of Psychic Scream by 30 seconds. Dominant Mind, you may also control your own character while Mind Control is active, but Mind Control has a 2-minute cooldown and it may not be used against players. Shining Force creates a burst of light around a friendly target, not going nearby enemies, and slowing their movement speed by 70% for 3 seconds. I cannot be convinced otherwise that Shining Force is not the go-to here. Psychic Voice, I mean, 30 seconds is nice, so you have your fear reduced from a minute to 30 seconds. But now I have a fear and a knock with Shining Force. I can't be convinced otherwise. I've used this so many times, and it's helped in certain situations so much that like I just don't know what I'd do without it, honestly. Usually I save it for myself, like if a bat is coming at me, a mob's like doing a leaping ability, it's coming right to me, or the mob is like focused on me and that's like their mechanic, Shining Force pushes them away. And then it gives me a lot more breathing room again. And usually that channel caster on me, like by the time they get to me at range, and when they get to me, I push them back. And they're still trying to channel, but by that time, the channel is done and pick somebody else. Like, it's just great. It's also great for helping tanks kite out their product. It's castable on any player, a friendly target. It's not just yourself. So this is so many uses. Highly recommend this one. But if you want to play Dominant Mind, I don't think it's a good play. Yeah, I don't think it's a good play. And then Psychic Voice, I mean, it's not bad. It's a pseudo interrupt, but not everything can be feared. Whereas something that can't be feared can be knocked back. So like, talk about King's Rest in that 4-pack room right after the first boss, the one who channels the lightning, that can be knocked back. So Shining Force would play. If I was just running Psychic Voice and didn't have anyone with a knockback or anyone with a grip, then we just have to get out of his range. But with Shining Force, knock it right into a wall, somewhere not too far, and the melee can still be on top of it. So you're saving time by doing that. So Shining Force is my go-to. If you want to play something else, I mean, obviously it's your game, your subscription, you can do whatever you want. But that's my go-to for level 60 row, and I have not played anything else. So level 75 row. This one's kind of interesting. Sins of the Many. Your damage is increased by up to 12%, diminishing for each ally affected by your atonement. So there's a table somewhere out there on the Discord. It's from 0 stacks of atonement is 12, 1 stack of atonement is still 12%. And I think it's 2, 3, 4, 5, like after every one of those it goes down by, I forget how much, maybe 3%. But then it caps, it does not go lower than 3% damage increase. So at like 9 plus or something, or 8 plus or something, it's at 3%, and just it stays at 3%. So no matter what, you're getting a damage increase. So this is my go-to this row. Like, I used to play Shadow Covenant. This is still, Shadow Covenant is considered the safe. And you know, weeks on Bursting Week, I thought about playing it, but I don't know, I just can't give up that extra damage. I just can't do it for some reason. I like seeing bigger numbers, so I play that. Contrition, when you heal with Penance, everyone with your Atonement is healed for 1,919. That's a very small number to bring. Like, you're missing out on damage reduction, which more damage is more Atonement healing. Faster, you kill things faster, you get to the end of the dungeon faster, you time things faster. This is not a big enough heal. It's not a big enough heal to bring, in my opinion. Contrition is just kind of like, I don't know why it's here. Shadow Covenant. Draws on the power of Shadow to heal the target and 4 injured allies within 30 yards for 28,788, but leaves a shell on them that absorbs the next 14,394 healing they receive within 6 seconds. So the shell that is left on there is really not that big, honestly. Like, it sounds like it's half of what it just healed, and honestly I think it's just stupid that there's this like play with the void, or like, oh, you're doing this, but you're also getting, oh, like, I don't know, void shit's happening, so you don't get all the healing. Like, oh, like, to me, that's a stupid flavor that should not be in the game. And Shadowlands is getting changed. I'm actually really hyped about the new Shadowlands Shadow Covenant. Should be fun. But this one, yeah, like, this is great. It's on a 12-second cooldown, 40-yard range, and anyone who, so you cast on someone, everyone within 40 yards of that player, they get healed instantly, boom. And obviously it goes up in intellect or whatever. So it does feel good to press sometimes when you feel like, oh shit, like I need, like, oh my gosh, everyone's getting healed or taking damage at the same time. I don't know, my atonements aren't ready. I don't know what to do. My power and radiance isn't doing enough. Like, I want another button to press because I just came from a reactive healer and now playing a proactive healer. You know, this is kind of the reactive spell to use. It's good to play safe, and if you're learning this increase, I do recommend it. But I feel like once you take those training wheels off, that is Shadow Covenant and kind of Twist of Fate, Sins of the Many is like the obvious choice once you get comfortable. So level 90 row, Purge the Wicked, replaces Shadow Word Pain, it cleanses the target with fire, causing 4,231 damage and an additional 38,584 fire damage over 20 seconds. Spreads to an additional nearby enemy when you cast Penance on the target. This is awesome compared to what Shadow Word Pain normally does. It just does, like, it does damage. That's pretty much it. So this allows you to cleave easy, especially with 2 men or 2-man full. You Purge the Wicked one, Penance that same person, boom, Purge the Wicked is spread for you. You don't have to tap target or anything like that. Does more damage than Shadow Word Pain. I think it lasts longer too. This is kind of the better pick. And it also scales with the Shadow Azerite trait called Depth Rose. Okay, so this is a pretty good pick. Divine Star, I've not seen people play, but I've played it myself, and it's actually kind of fun to use. I just think it's just like the low damage it does, and it costs mana. It's kind of fun to use, actually. It is kind of fun to line up your Divine Star and boom, go forward, hit enemies, hurt them, hit allies, heal them, and then obviously the Atonement does the home stuff. But let me read it. So Divine Star. Throw a Divine Star forward 24 yards, healing allies in its path for 10,662 and dealing 6,824 holy damage to enemies. After reaching its destination, the Divine Star returns to you, healing allies and damaging enemies in its path again. So, 24 yards, boom. If you get a good lineup, like, you kind of burst on enemy. I actually played this. I played this one on Season 2 with Reaping. Was it the Reaping pack? Divine Star, and like I didn't run to kind of make sure the Divine Star hit everyone else. Like, that was actually a pretty fun play. I mean, Purge the Wicked is kind of better because Divine Star kind of takes a little finesse to use, but it's kind of fun to use at the same time. Halo. Creates a ring of holy energy around you that quickly expands to a 30-yard radius, healing allies for 21,964 and dealing 17,571 holy damage to enemies. It is on a 40-second cooldown, 30-yard cast. This is kind of more of the raid setup, but I still like Purge Witcher for the raid setup, honestly. Divine Star and Halo. Never played Halo as Discipline. Actually, I lied, I did play it in Battle Desire lore. Divine Star I played a little bit, but Purge Witcher is kind of my go-to. Alright, now level 100 row. Lenience. Atonement reduces damage taken by 3%. That's awesome. That's just another damage reduction as a passive. I mean, any damage reduction is good damage reduction. Luminous Barrier. It replaces Power Word Barrier. You create a shield on all allies within 40 yards, absorbing 42,648 damage on each of them for 10 seconds. That's not a big shield. That's not. 42,000 on a 3-minute cooldown. That's not a big shield. I mean, it might be easier to play than Barrier, but it's not good. This is not a good replacement for Power Barrier. You can use it to like pad numbers, honestly. I've seen people do it in Pug Raids where they'll pop Luminous Barrier as their cooldown instead of ramping, and they'll pad the meters, and it's kind of lame, but I mean, I guess it works for them. But this row, Evangelism, is kind of seen as the raid cooldown, or the raid setup in the level 100 row. And Evangelism is extends the duration of all your active atonements by 6 seconds. It's actually really good. Like, as you're setting up your ramps and you're seeing like your ramp or your atonement starting to fall off, so like that 3 seconds or 2 seconds, boom. That's when you hit Evangelism, and then you go into your DPS rotation. So that 2 or 3 second atonement that was about to fall off just got up to 8 or 9 seconds. Sorry, math. Gets up to 8 or 9 seconds. I get another 8 or 9 seconds on those guys, and your last person who got atoned is at around like 13 to 15 seconds plus 6 for them. Now they're at 19 to 21 seconds. Like, freaking Evangelism is really good. And on a minute and a half cooldown. So these are my talent options. I try to show in all the videos I did. Some of the earlier videos I forgot to. The later videos I got way better at. But this is my standard Mythic Plus. Every affix this whole season. I just played through. Like, this week is the repeat of the very first week of season 4. So like now the weeks are gonna start repeating themselves. I played this the whole entire, I think it's like 13 weeks or something. I played them this whole, every single affix week. This is what I played. Haven't changed these at all. Pretty sure I didn't. Like 98% sure I didn't change these. If you have any questions, leave some comments. I'll get to them when I can. But like I said, if you're new to Discipline Priest, I highly recommend Fist of Fate and Shadow Covenant, kind of as your training wheels. Mindbender can be a good play over Solace, kind of really situational. Sometimes you might get better use out of it than use Solace, you know, up to you. Shadow, already went over that one. All right, Divine Star, Purge of Wicked. I would say always stay with Purge of Wicked, but it was fun kind of playing Divine Star. Last row should always be Lenience in Mythic Plus. That damage reduction is kind of big. 3% is not big, but it is nice having that damage reduction. Alright, let's talk about my Azerite here. I do not have my ideal gear. I don't raid enough to get it, but I know what I want. This is not it. But what I have here has worked for me so far to get up to 18 to time that. So Death Throes, Shatter of Pain deals an additional 3,201 damage over its duration. When an enemy dies while affected by Shatter of Pain, you gain 5 insanity. Obviously the insanity part does not mean anything for Discipline, but Shatter of Pain does increase damage for Discipline, and it also works for Purge of Wicked. Don't know what nerd somewhere thought of that, but they tried it and it works, and I use it. So essentially, it'd be nice to have 3 of these to stack up that 3,000 extra damage on a Purge of Wicked, so that'd be about 9,000 to 9,500 damage while I'm doing. If I have 3 across all my gear. I have 1, 2. So this is kind of the go-to stacking for Discipline Priest is Death Throes. Sudden Revelation, Powered Radiance has a 50% chance to cause your next Holy Nova to deal 7,938 additional damage and reduce the cooldown of Powered Radiance by 3 seconds. This one's okay. If you want just one of them for that extra cooldown reduction or Powered Radiance and extra damage, it's just the damage you have to be in melee, and sometimes it's just not a good idea to go melee. But if you want that extra damage and you want the extra cooldown, it's not bad. Okay. Discipline Priest like secondary stats, honestly. Over everything else, secondary stat boosts are kind of where it's at. If I didn't already have Enduring Luminescence on another piece, I would have went for Enduring Luminescence here, because one stack of this, so Enduring Luminescence Powered Radiance restores 2,667 additional health and applies Atonement for 70% of Atonement duration. That's what I get it for. The extra Atonement duration. Not the extra heal. The extra heal is kind of, it's alright. Any extra heal is obviously good, but that number is not a whole lot. So I do it for the Atonement duration, and the Atonement duration does not stack. The healing would, but I don't need that extra healing because I'm doing my AoE healing another way. So since I have this on another piece, I went with stats, and arguably haste is the best secondary stat for Discipline. Probably close second with crit. So Meticulous Scheme is really good for haste. Your spells and abilities have a chance to grant you Meticulous Scheming for 8 seconds, but transform into Season Moment after you cast 3 different spells, granting you 1,030 haste for 20 seconds. That's a lot of haste for a long duration. Then we go into our more inner traits. So I went with damage here. Your damaging abilities have a chance to implant Azerite Globule on your enemies. The enemy collect 3 Azerite Globules that explode, dealing 5,102 fire damage to nearby enemies. That does not transfer to Atonement Healing, that is just extra damage that I opted for. Now that I'm looking at this, this might be the better option. Blessed Portents. Your healing spells have a chance to apply Blessed Portents for 20 seconds. The ally falls below 50% health. Blessed Portent is consumed and instantly heals or instantly restores 16,654 health. That's pretty good. I think I just wanted more damage when I was picking. This would be obviously a lot more safe and defensive. We'll see, I actually might change that. The higher keys I get into, I might have to change to that one and be more focused on keeping people alive versus doing damage. But that's what I went with damage on Azerite Globulus. Now the inner one, I went with Vampiric Speed. When an enemy you harm dies, you heal for 15,408 and gain 129 speed for 6 seconds. That one, it's just nice getting like that extra heal at the end of combat, I guess. It's nice getting an extra heal. Versus Fade, or Sanctum, I'm sorry. Sanctum. When you cast Fade, absorb 39,271 magic damage for 10 seconds. That's kind of more of a PvP thing, because once you cast Fade, you shouldn't really have aggro on you in PvE. I mean, it could be useful still, I see that if you want, but I obviously opted with Vampiric Speed. Like I said, do not take these Azerite pieces as like, okay, these are my goals. Absolutely not. I want more Death Throes, one Enduring Luminescence. I want the new Heart of Darkness to stack up my secondary stats. I mean, that's pretty much it. And I don't have it. Depth of Shadows, we'll go with that. So Enduring Luminescence, Powered Radiance restores. Already went over this one. Got my one stack out of all three of my pieces, so I'm happy with it. And this would be versus Moment of Repose, which is a pretty good external cooldown. Well, it makes an already good external cooldown a better one. So, Moment of Repose. Pain Suppression applies Atonement to the target and instantly heals them for 35,436. That's a really good oh shit on. Because you're saving the extra global cooldown with an Atonement or a Shadow Man after you put Pain Suppression on. So that's kind of, Pain Suppression is still kind of like, it's a big damage reduction. They also use this as like, I didn't, it was on cooldown, whatever, like during the pool, this guy is getting smacked. I need to do something. I want a big heal on him. Boom, paint suppress him with moment of repose. They also get atonement, and they get healed. It's pretty good. But this versus luminescence and looking at the other piece I just went over, I would rather have what I have now. This is another good one that is kind of good to stack. Oh, excuse me, I'll sneeze. It's another good one to stack, especially since we're kind of weak in the single target healing department as Discipline Priest, and that like big chunk heal. Depth of Shadow kind of fixes it. So, Depth of Shadows, each time Purge the Wicked deals damage, the healing of your next Shadowman is increased by 478, up to a max of 14,340. Atonement applied by Shadowman lasts an additional 2 seconds. So, even if just for one, getting that extra atonement duration is very nice to have. If you want to stack 3 and just have like big stat Shadowmans, you could. You're just playing a lot more defensive versus offensive, and honestly, I've thought about doing that just to have like a stand Shadowmans and like feel more comfortable with my health pool of my team. Total user's choice, obviously. I like seeing big damage numbers. I kind of want to see what the difference would be if I had a stack of Depth of Shadows versus a stack of Death Throws, but I don't have that luxury with the gear right now, and when I re-roll for random tokens, I kind of get shat on, and that's just life. So, I would like to see it. Something I kind of plan on doing if I ever get that type of gear, but we will see. So the next one, Blood Siphon, increases your mastery by 107 and your leech by 53. Versus Brace and Chill, your heals have a chance to apply Brace and Chill. Hitting the target with Brace and Chill will heal for an additional 5,958 and move Brace and Chill to a nearby ally up to 6 times. Versus Savior, your heals on target plus 50% health have a chance to heal for an additional 10,830. Those are kind of safe, but like I said earlier, this increase loves secondary stats, so any extra passive secondary stats I can get, I want, so I go with Blood Siphon. And again, Vampiric Speed versus Sanctum, we went over that in the last piece. So now I'll move on to my chest piece. So it's Death Throws again, we already went over that one, versus my Depth of Shadows. That is Contemptuous Homily. Penance deals an additional 680 damage and extends your Purge Wicked by 1 second per bolt. This is kind of more of a PvP one. It's nice, Penance does more damage, and then an extra 3 seconds when you Purge Wicked is also nice. So just getting that extra stacking damage from Death Throws is much more valuable than Contemptuous Homily in my opinion. Like I said, the Depth of Shadow would be very nice to actually have 2 stacks versus 2 stacks with Death Throws, just to kind of see like how much DPS I lose overall, but how much easier the dungeon feels to heal people overall. Who knows if I'll make that change, we'll see. But as of right now, I'm sticking with more damage versus or stronger Shadowmans. Second row, I chose Unstable Catalyst. Your spells and abilities have a chance to leak Azerite on the ground around you. Standing the Azerite increases your primary stat by 948 for 8 seconds. So this actually spawns a lot. It's a lot of uptime on this one. The only thing is, you can't move it with you. So if it spawns and then all of a sudden bad spawns underneath you, you have to step out of it. That's a really big, like a very generous range too, honestly. So I actually find I get a good amount of uptime with Catalyst stuff. This is versus my Sudden Revelation, which I don't really care for. I'd rather have more stats versus this one, so this is the obvious choice to me. Obviously more primary stats, intellect, more damage, more healing through atonement. Row after that, it's Unstable Flames. Your damaging abilities have a chance to grant 95 critical strike rating for 5 seconds. This effect stacks up to 5 times, so get a little less than 500 crit when this stacks. This one likes secondary stats, so this is what I went with. And again, this is versus Ephemeral Recovery. When you go below 20% mana, you gain 10,733 mana. Can occur once every 3 minutes. That's not good. You go below a mana, you get a mana potion. It only happens every 3 minutes, so it's kind of shit. Where this spawns about 20 to 25% of a dungeon, I believe. Savior. It heals on target. We already went over this one. This one's also not great. So the last row, the bolts are kind of really shitty. Long Strider increases your movement speed by 27% of your highest secondary rating, up to 8%. Or Bulwark of the Masses. When you're surrounded by 4 or more enemies, gain a shield that absorbs 34,020 damage, cannot occur more than once every 20 seconds. These both are shit. Like Mythic Plus, I don't care for either of these, but I just want with more being able to be fast because this one's naturally so fuck. Yeah. So that's my Azerite pieces. Let's go over my essences. So this is my current setup when I timed my 18 earlier. I went away from World Vein. I really like World Vein. But I was kind of like doing my own thing with World Vein. In mode, the Discipline Priest doesn't run it. He runs Crucible or Everrising Tide Major, and he has for so long. You know, the Discord and Discipline Priest, they don't like World Vein. Automatic Jack, another really good Discipline Priest, does not go for World Vein. I thought they were crazy. Not crazy, but just the extra intellect, like I already said. More intellect equals more damage, equals more atonement healing. So it's like a nice middle ground. Crucible Flame is kind of very offensive. Everrising Tide is very defensive. And then World Vein for me was that nice little middle ground that I liked. I just like being kind of somewhere in the middle. Don't like being too far forward because I'm like, oh shit, like I wish I was able to do a little more healing. And I don't like being too far on the healing side and think, oh man, like I don't need to do all this healing. I'm doing so much over healing. I wish I could do more DPS and we could time it faster. So World Vein was that perfect middle ground. But honestly, I kind of got sucked into the doing more damage. It was nice to see him bigger numbers, so I went with Crucible Flame, and I like it, obviously. I used to use it before last season. That's because World Vein got a buff going into Season 4 from Season 3. So I got turned on by that. I want to try it out, and I really liked it. I think I used World Vein on all my timed runs on my videos. Pretty sure I did. It worked. I did 17th with it too, but I just want to go back to Crucible, I guess. Had my fun with World Vein. We'll see how much fun I have with this one. So, the majors for this, I would recommend World Vein, Crucible, or the Everrising Tide, or Vitality Conduit if you need that. If you want that big chunk heal on one person. Crucible Flame is your offensive choice. Everrising Tide is your defensive choice. World Vein to me is like the middle ground choice that I found very comfortable and very kind of fun to use, honestly, especially when I was able to stand in the extra shards that stacked, plus my unstable catalyst. Like I just had, there were some pulls like I have 28,000, 29,000 intellect for like several seconds. Like the numbers that were on my screen were just insane to see, and I really liked it. But yeah, did the 18 with my Crucible Flame Major. A lot of DPS, I like it. So those are my majors, my options, my recommendations for 3 majors you should go with. For minor, let's start here. Spirit of Preservation I don't think it should ever not have this one. Corruption resistance is nice, increased by 10, but every 5 seconds you gain Devout Spirit, causing your next Shadow Man to heal for an additional 3,460, stacking up to 5 times. Each stack of Devout Spirit consumed increases your critical strike chance of your next Shadow Man within 15 seconds by 20. So I have a stack of 5. $3,460 times 5, what is that, 15,000 or so? Plus my Depth of Shadow trait, another 14,000. That's an extra 29,000 to 30,000 on a Shadow Man. And if I consume the 5 stack, my next Shadow Man is going to automatically crit. I mean, go back and watch some of my videos, you'll see some fat Shadowman numbers. I think the biggest one I've ever seen, I remember seeing, is like 259,000 Shadowman heal. That is huge. The one following up to that would be like 140,000 if it was a crit. It's freaking nuts. So like this plus Death of Shadows is such like a good combination in my opinion. If you're that type of person who likes that big reactive heal, get these. If you want that super reactive heal, you get another Death of Shadow. Is that, like meta to play? Maybe not, but the meta isn't really needed until you get to like 20s and higher, honestly. At that point, you're probably in comms with people, and you're setting up the team properly around this increase, whatever. And that's something I've thought about trying too, honestly. Like I said, stacking more Death of Shadow just to see how fat I can get with Shadowlands. Moving on, comping this strat. I only have rank 2, but I'm working towards rank 3. This is kind of like do not replace either, because just like I said, secondary stats for this increase is just amazing. And comping this right, spells and abilities have a chance to increase your versatility by 65 for 14 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. Being the victim of a loss of control and movement impairing effect also grants status strike. So rank 3 is good. It does the same thing, but you get, instead of stacking up to 5 times, stacks up to 8 times, so it's more versatility. A lot of uptime on this. It's just literally you're just playing the game and you're getting versatility as you're playing the game. And then those versatility obviously is more damage, and more damage you do, less damage taken. Versatility is good to have. This is another one. These two I just don't recommend switching off of, honestly. I mean, if you have rank 1, maybe you can do a Memory of Lucid Dream and Ever-Rising Tide minor, or another helpful healing minor, Well of Resistance, Vitality Conduit. Yeah. Memory of Lucid Dreams, I find myself, I can feel when I don't have it, and I can feel when I do have it. Your spells and abilities have a chance to refund 50% of the mana spent on them, heal you for 26,089, and increase your versatility by 454 for 8 seconds. This is up a good amount of time, so that versatility stack plus this one is nice to have, and you can kind of feel when they're up there. And then it's just a mana refund that I really, I feel like I benefit from. Like, I feel like my runs go faster when I have this talent. The harder content, I would probably want to go with a Vitality Conduit in this place, or Well of Resistance in this place. But I really like just this setup here. This is my setup, besides this one being World Band for like the series I just did. But this is, I don't know, I like it. I like this one a lot. Like I said, I just timed my first 15 today. It went well. I think I had like 3 to 5 deaths total. It was a workshop. The last boss was a bit of a sketch, but I died during it. Someone else died during it, but I had a res. But yeah, it's I can definitely tell when I don't have this one. It's kind of like a training wheels for me, honestly. I think it's because I don't want to spend the money on fish fees, because they get expensive on my realm, and that can be why. So instead of, I could supplement the lack of mana during pulls by stopping combat. Obviously, you do one of these real quick and go right back into it, like time loss, stop the need, versus having Memory of Lucid Dreams. Like, it's not, you don't really lose time when you have a shared class of fishes. But yeah, this is what I go with. That's my stuff. Those are what I recommend as far as replacements. I don't recommend replacing Spirit of Preservation or Confidence Stripe at rank 2 or higher. Memory of Lucid Dream is third slash kind of dealer's choice. Major's kind of dealer's choice, but I recommend the 3 as mentioned, being Crucible, Ever-Rising Tide, or World Vein. And Vitality Conduit getting, a nod. That's pretty much it. Let's go over my corruption. Can't target corruption, so I just pretty much go with what I like, I feel comfortable with. In an ideal world, I would have secondary stat corruptions. I'd maybe have 1 Twilight Devastation or Infinite Stars. I'd honestly rather have another Gushing Wound and not worry about Twilight Devastation and pulling something I don't need to, or he's getting Twilight Devs casted, but I'm so far away that I don't do shit. So in an ideal world, I would have secondary stat increase and Gushing Wounds for my corruption, but I can't pick corruption. So I hear there's a new build coming out next week. Apparently it's supposed to be, I don't know, this is all just hearsay at this point, but apparently the corruption system currently might get changed. We'll see, who knows, we'll see, stay tuned. But I'd love to go and target my corruption and pick exactly what I want. But at this point I can't, so I pick what I find most comfortable, and the one, obviously, the one I feel best for my corruption budget. The one thing I can point to is I don't like playing at anything above 40. I don't want to have to worry about me healing myself extra on top of already dumb DPS players playing at like 40, 50, and 60 corruption, taking stupid amounts of damage because they think them dealing out a little bit more damage is worth like them getting 40% chunks from their Grand Illusions hitting them. To me personally, I play with anything below 40, and I step out of my eye corruption whenever I can. If not, I'll sit there and take it. I try not to be in my eye corruption. But yeah, that's one thing I can point to is try and stay below 40, honestly. If you want to feel risky and you want to go for it and you feel like it's worth taking over 40 for whatever reason, corruption is just that good to you, then obviously go for it. But yeah, that's what I recommend. I don't think I need to go over the abilities or anything like that, the spells. I feel like if you're watching this video, you kind of have an idea of this increase. You've kind of been toying around with it, but you kind of watch this to know a little more. But yeah, guys, that is it. If you guys want to know my UI, what I have, what my weak auras are, what does all this stuff mean? What is this here? Why do I have them down here? Why do I use the standard Blizzard UI? Leave some comments, let me know. I'd love to get back to you guys and have a little dialogue back and forth. But yeah, thanks for watching. This has been a long video already, almost an hour. I just want to cut it short. Yeah guys, thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you stuck it out the whole way and you learned a thing or two about Discipline Priest, or it gave you a little bit of confidence to play Discipline Priest, or it I don't know, like you were on the edge of trying it out and now you saw the video, now you do want to try it out. I don't know, whatever it may be. But yeah, really appreciate you guys watching this video. Take care.